Pokemon! It's
Sam Bentley, and I'm here to tell you about some good news stories that happened in February. Before I do, if you've been enjoying these good news roundups, can you tap that like button, as it really helps this video reach other people who may need to hear some goodness that's happening in the world too. So let's jump straight into some good news in February that you might have missed. 9 countries have signed the Global Declaration for River Dolphins to protect these endangered species worldwide, with hopes that 5 additional countries will soon join. Each participating country is home to unique river dolphin populations and has pledged to actively protect and manage their river habitats. Since the 1980s, river dolphin populations have drastically dropped by 73%, a decline largely attributed to human activities such as fishing bycatch. But this collaborative effort symbolises a beacon of hope for river dolphins, so let's hope this pact leads to these majestic creatures thriving again. The EU are drafting a law to make cosmetic companies pay for their pollution. Under the polluter pays principle, companies that sell medicines and cosmetics will have to cover 80% of the cost of cleaning micropollutants from waterways. The remaining 20% will be covered by the government to ensure essential items remain affordable. A new record in nuclear fusion energy production has been set at the UK-based Jet Laboratory, moving us closer to the goal of limitless clean power. There's been a joke in the industry that for the last 50 years, we've always been 20 years away from nuclear fusion, but recent advancements in the last few years might mean that this is actually true. Nuclear fusion is often considered the gold standard for energy production, providing huge amounts of energy without the carbon emissions of fossil fuels or the radioactive waste produced by our current nuclear fission power stations.
Yeah, and even a teaspoon could cause a fatal tumour.
Hey, you want to come bowling with us tonight?
Okay.
With unlimited clean energy, we could revolutionise everything in the modern world, from transport to recycling, so let's hope for more nuclear good news in the future. Mexico announced 5.7 million acres of new protected areas spread across 20 different locations around the country. To put that into perspective, that's almost as big as the entire country of Rwanda. Mexico is home to a huge variety of landscapes, from desert to rainforest. However, economic pressure and illegal activity puts a strain on the natural environment across the country. So it's great to see such an ambitious expansion of protected areas. At the very least, it looks like this is a step in the right direction.
Slide to the right.
After years of campaigning, commercial sand eel fishing will be banned across England and Scotland, securing an important food source for the puffins and other seabirds which rely on them for food. Why is this such a big win? Here's another Sam from the RSPB to tell us.
After over 25 years of campaigning from the RSPB and many other organisations, the UK and Scottish Government have made the decision to permanently close sand eel fisheries in the English North Sea and all of Scottish waters. This is a monumental decision for UK seabirds in securing a lifeline for their future. Last year we had the results of the seabird census, which announced that across Britain and Ireland over 50% of seabird species are in decline, and in Scotland that number is as high as 70% declines. This is for species such as puffin and kittiwake, which are globally threatened with extinction or on the red list for birds of conservation concern in the UK. Many of their declines can be attributed to things like climate change, to unsustainable fishing through bycatch, but prey availability is such an important reason for their decline. Securing sand eels, which we know are so important for seabirds, particularly in the North Sea, is a huge step forward in building resilience in our seabirds and driving them towards recovery.
A decommissioned mine in Finland has been turned into a gravity battery as a low-cost way of storing renewable energy. Gravity batteries are a simple yet effective solution to energy storage. Essentially, when the amount of renewable energy being generated is higher than the electricity demand, the extra electricity is used to pull huge weights to the top of the 530-metre mine shaft. The energy is then stored there as gravitational potential energy. Then, when electricity is needed, the weights are lowered back down, with their weight turning a generator which creates electricity. It's a great way to store energy without the expensive rare elements like lithium and cobalt, which are common in your typical battery. Chile and Palau have become the first countries to officially agree to follow the High Seas Treaty, an international commitment to protect our oceans beyond the borders of any country. The high seas, which is an area of the ocean roughly 40 miles or more from the nearest country, and not just an area of the sea that's got really baked, make up half the planet's surface. If the UN is to maintain its pledge to protect 30% of our oceans by 2030, this treaty will play a key role. New Zealand has become one of the first countries to ban forever chemicals in all cosmetic products. Forever chemicals, also known as PFAs, or this word, are a group of man-made chemicals that don't break down easily, meaning they stay in the environment and also in our bodies for a very long time, and they can have a really harmful and long-lasting effect. I actually just watched Dark Waters the other day, which I highly recommend. It's all about this hero called Robert Billett who takes on the chemical manufacturing corporation DuPont after they contaminate a whole town with unregulated chemicals. Add it to your watch list if you want to learn more about why forever chemicals and PFAs are so bad for the environment. But anyway, let's hope more countries follow New Zealand's example soon. Canada just completed its largest land transfer in history, returning 2 million square kilometres of land and water to the indigenous Nunavut people. The area, which is among the northernmost regions of Canada, first became a territory in 1999 with some level of independence. Since then, they've been on a 25-year journey to establish their own devolved government, granting them greater control over their own land and resources. Talking of land, almost 5,000 acres of forest in Vermont have been given permanent protection in recognition of its role as a vital corridor for species to migrate northwards. The region has an abundant range of ecosystems, from wetlands to high elevation forests. By permanently protecting the area as a forever wild region, we can make sure that these ecosystems and the animals that depend on them can continue to prosper. And a significant conservation effort has been made in Alabama too, where a $15 million deal was finalised to purchase nearly 8,000 acres of ecologically vital land at the head of the Mobile Tensor Delta, known as America's Amazon. This initiative was led by the Nature Conservancy in Alabama, with significant financial contributions from the Holdfast Collective, a non-profit part of Patagonia, and an anonymous donor. The land, called the Land Between the Rivers, is located in Clark County and is noted for its exceptional biodiversity, including a variety of fish, birds, reptiles, and amphibians.
Guess who's back? Back again.
The EU is back, and tell a friend who lives in the EU that they're strengthening consumers' rights for their goods to be repaired, making it more appealing to repair broken items than simply replace them. For many people, replacing goods rather than repairing them is a simple matter of convenience. It's quicker to buy a new one than to repair the old one, so the goal of the legislation is to make it more convenient for consumers to repair their broken products rather than just toss them out. Under the new law, manufacturers may allow people to borrow a replacement item while theirs is being repaired, or provide the option of a refurbished alternative instead. And over 80 critically endangered orange-bellied parrots have returned to their Tasmania breeding grounds, the highest in 15 years, marking a significant conservation victory for this nearly extinct species. In 2016, just 3 females returned and the species was almost considered functionally extinct. While 80 is still far too few of these beautiful birds, it's great to see their populations heading in the right direction.
Well, that's all, folks.
Like Mr. Bunny just said, that's all we've got time for today, folks. But if you want to hear more good news next month, we'll meet here at the same time and the same place at the end of March. So subscribe now so you don't forget. Also, me and my researcher Rissy try and find stories from every corner of the globe. But if you'd like us to search for some good news from where you're from, tell us what country you're watching this video from in the comments, and we'll see if there's any good stuff going on there. If you want to read more about all the stories I've spoken about, I've popped a link to all of them in the description. I hope you have a fantastic March, much love, and up the villa.